My name is Matt Just. I'm a Senior Technical Product Manager at VMware on the Network Insight team. In this video, I'm going to cover the installation of vRealize Network Insight in an on-premise data center application. In order to install vRealize Network Insight, we're going to need to download the OVAs. You can do this by going to the VMware website, clicking on Downloads, and then NSX Data Center for vSphere. Once you're at the Download VMware NSX Data Center for vSphere page, you'll scroll down and you'll find the link to download VMware vRealize Network Insight. You'll click on Go to Downloads and you'll be prompted with 3 different OVAs that you can download. We have a platform OVA, a proxy OVA, and an offline upgrade bundle. For a new installation, we're going to want to download the platform OVA and the proxy OVA. After we've started the download of the OVA files, we'll want to take a look at the installation guide found at vmware.com for vRealize Network Insight. Once we are inside the vRealize Network Insight installation guide, we'll want to note the system recommendations and requirements. Here is where we'll determine the size of deployment that we're going to deploy when we deploy vRealize Network Insight. This will be based off of the size of the environment that you're going to deploy vRealize Network Insight in. As you'll notice, we can support currently up to 100,000 virtual machines and 10 million flows per day. So you'll need to determine on how many VMs and how many flows you're looking to monitor with vRealize Network Insight within your data center and choose the proper sizing when you deploy your proxy and your platform OVAs. Next, we want to note the supported products and versions. Here's where you'll find all third-party and VMware products that are supported within vRealize Network Insight. The most important on a new installation is to scroll down and note the VMware vSphere and vCenter requirements. You'll find the minimal requirements for vRealize Network Insight here on the page, and you'll want to ensure that these are met within the data center that you're going to be deploying the application. Next, we're going to click on Installing vRealize Network Insight, and then we're going to look at the installation workflow. It is important to note the installation workflow. First, we're going to install our platform OVA. After the installation of the OVA, we will open up the IP address or FQDN that we assign to that VM. This is going to allow us to activate the license for vRealize Network Insight. We will then generate a shared secret required for the setup of the proxy OVA. Once we've set up our proxy, we will then move into the product and we will start to configure our data sources to collect data. After you have downloaded the proxy and platform OVA for vRealize Network Insight, you'll want to log into vSphere and choose your location where you want to deploy the OVAs. In this case, I chose a management resource pool I have deployed within my data center. I have already deployed the VMware vRealize Network Insight platform VM. Once it's deployed, you want to power the VM on, and then you're going to launch into the console for the platform VM. Once you're in the console, you're going to want to log in so that we can enter setup, configure our passwords and our network information for the platform VM. You'll notice at the top that the default username and password is provided. After logging in, you will receive the CLI prompt. Here's where you'll enter the setup command. This will walk you through setting up and configuring your passwords and your network information required for the VM. You will need to have an IP address, the subnet mask, the default gateway, DNS server, and domain search, along with NTP server to deploy the VM. After the network and NTP server information is verified, you will be prompted to configure a web proxy. This is by option. This is only if you require a restricted internet access environment web proxy. In my case, I do not, so I'm going to choose no. You will then be asked if you want to enable telemetry. This helps VMware monitor performance data for the product and is recommended that you do enable it, but is optional. After the appliance is configured that all services are running, we will receive an appliance configured successfully and return to our CLI prompt. We will now open up a web browser tab and enter in the IP address that we assigned to our platform VM. We will then be prompted to enter our license key. We will validate the license. And then we are going to be asked to set an administrative password that will be used to log into the platform GUI. After setting your password, click Activate. We will be then taken to the Add Collector and Finish screen. At the bottom, you'll notice that we have a spinning wheel and it says Not Yet Detected. This indicates that the platform is looking for connection to the proxy. Before we can actually make a connection, we will need to generate our shared secret key for the proxy. We'll click Generate, and then we'll click Copy, which will copy the key to the clipboard. After we copy the key to the clipboard, we will go back to our vSphere client, and we will conduct the installation of the proxy VM. Again, you'll choose your destination location, deploy OVF template, and then choose your location that you downloaded your OVAs to. We'll then click Next. We'll verify our data center folder. We will select our resource. Again, I'm using my management resource pool. We will then review the details of the installation, followed by reviewing the license agreement and accepting the license agreement. We'll then choose our size of configuration. When we deployed the platform, I went with a medium deployment. So we will want to ensure that our proxy is set to medium also. We will then select our storage and then select thin provision for your disk format. We will then choose our network that we are going to deploy our proxy on. Now this is important. During the deployment of the proxy, we will be prompted in the template to enter our shared secret key. This is the key that we copied from the platform web browser. Here I'm going to paste our shared secret key, followed by hitting Next, reviewing the installation details, and then hitting Finish. Once the proxy VM has completed installation, we will then want to launch into the console similar to what we did with the platform VM. Again, when we log into the console, we'll notice that we are provided with the username and password, and we're going to need to follow the setup command to configure the password and network information for our proxy VM. After entering the password, we will be prompted with the CLI prompt. Here we will enter setup. Now we will create our passwords and enter in our network information required for the VM. After we've entered our network details, we will want to save the configuration. After the appliance restarts the network service, it will go through a process of authenticating the shared secret with the platform VM that we applied during the installation. After the appliance verifies the shared secret with the platform, we will then be prompted to enter a web proxy. Again, this is an optional configuration only required where restricted internet access environments exist. In my case, this is not needed, so I'm going to select No. We will then be asked if we want to enable telemetry similar to what we did on the platform VM. This helps VMware collect data to improve products and services. This is optional. I'm going to select Yes. After the appliance has verified all services are up and running, we will receive an appliance configured successfully, followed by the CLI prompt. Now we will return to the tab we have opened to our platform VM in our web browser. As you'll notice, we now have proxy detected. We've authenticated our proxy collector with our platform, and we're able to now finish the installation. After clicking Finish, we'll be prompted to log in to the product for the first time. By default, the login is going to be admin@local, followed by the administrative password we configured when we entered our key for the platform VM. After logging in, we'll be prompted to join the Customer Experience Improvement Program. Again, this is optional. You can select or unselect and then hit Submit. You will then see a brief tutorial on utilizing the product. You can click next through this so that we can continue with adding our data sources. Next, we will want to add our data source. In this case, we are going to choose our VMware vCenter. This will take us into the settings portion of the platform. Here's where we'll choose the proxy that we're going to use that will connect to our vCenter and collect the data. We will then enter in the IP address or FQDN to our vCenter, followed by an administrator username and password. After we've entered in our administrator username and password for our vCenter, we will click Validate. If credentials are good, we should see a validation successful. After receiving our validation successful, we will want to enable NetFlow/IPFix on this vCenter. So we will select Enable NetFlow, and we will select our virtual distributed switch. Here I have my DC South. I can expand this to see the various distributed virtual port groups that I have deployed within my virtual distributed switch. You can enable manual selection and manually select which port groups that you want to collect IPFix on. We recommend enabling all of them so that you get the most data collected within your data center. You then will assign a nickname to this vCenter. In this case, I'm just going to name it vCenter. We'll scroll down and we will click Submit. And we have now added our vCenter as a data source. We can add another account or we can click Finish. And then we are going to be taken to the assessment mode homepage for vRealize Network Insight. If we want to add additional data sources, we can simply click on Add Data Source, or we can come up here to Settings, and click Add Source, and we can add another vCenter, another physical or a physical flow collector to collect NetFlow or SFlow from any physical networking devices, or connect to InfoBlocks for DNS. You'll notice here that we see our vCenter that we added, its IP address, and then as it collects and discovers data, we will see the last collection time and the number of discovered VMs along with the discovered flows. And this concludes our installation of vRealize Network Insight in an on-premise data center. I hope you found this video informative, and thank you for watching.